Hey, what's up? EZOVERDOSE here. This is my Mogu'shan Vaults Elegon mount blood DK solo guide, recommended for item level 640 and higher, although it can be done slightly lower. This video is going to talk about stuff specific to blood DKs, like when you should be popping your defensive cooldowns on a handful of the fights and how to handle some of the mechanics. It's highly recommended that you bring food, flasks, DPS pots, healing tonics, drums of fury, drums of forgotten kings. Your weapon rune should be Fallen Crusader. You should be using DPS trinkets, and hopefully you've been prioritizing to get multi-strike on your gear over mastery, because multi-strike is going to give you more DPS and mastery is not. And all of the damage in here that's going to kill you is magic damage anyway, so mastery in here is pretty much worthless. So the DK that I'm using in this video is, I think it was 644, but in the time that I recorded this footage that I'm going to be using for this guide, till the time that I actually edited the video and threw the voice over it, I got the mount on my other DK, and it was, I think, 636 item level. So, like I said, you can do it under 640. It's just a little bit tighter on gara'jal the Spirit Bender. That's mainly the roadblock in this raid to doing this. And yes, I was extremely stoked when the mount dropped, and that is the mount that I am currently using. Bye bye Mim's Head. Hello Astral Cloud Serpent. One note for the trash before I jump into the boss explanations. Those two stone dudes patting down the middle, don't pull both of them. If you pull both of them, you probably get frozen. You have to sit there like 30 seconds a minute or whatever it is. It's just going to waste time. Pull those one at a time, let the debuff drop, and then pull the other and kill it. So this isn't really like a how to maximize your DPS as a blood DK guide, but I'll just do like a quick, I don't know, 30-45 second tutorial on what you should be doing. Like on the pull, you should be pre-potting. Pop your pot before the pull so it goes on cooldown when you're not in combat. Pop Army of the Dead, you pop Dancing Rune Weapon, and you pop your Drums of Fury as you go in for the pull. And you should be using Plague Leech, Blood Tap, and Defile, Death Pact as well. Those are the talents of choice in here. So first boss, the Stone Guard, really not much to explain. Watch your feet, get out of stuff, and just kind of roll buttons. Basically, if blood boils your top damage, you're doing it wrong. Or I should say, if blood boils your top damage and you're dying, you're doing it wrong. Death Strike should probably still be your top damage. Obviously, stay alive and just do as much AoE as possible. Whenever the overload happens, you can use AMS, but I don't think it's that big a deal at all. Like I said, this first fight, really face roll. Just make sure you're just spamming Death Coil and Death Strike back to back. Use your blood runes on Blood Boil. Try to use all your other runes on Death Strikes, and it'll die eventually. The second guy's a piece of cake too. Same deal. On this fight, there's these like two things, like little crystal looking things that spawn. You want to click on the right one. It's going to be nullification barrier, and this will basically like strip debuffs on you during the fight. That makes this fight really simple. So I basically just open up, and I know this guy, he's going to run over to that back right corner, and I just throw some DPS into him while the drums are up. Beware. And then I run over and I click the crystal while he's doing Epicenter, because Epicenter makes you like miss everything. So no point in trying to DPS doing that. Just run over and grab that crystal. Now this nullification barrier, it's gonna make you like immune to his abilities, and when he starts putting like stacks on you of debuffs and stuff, it's gonna strip those off as well. When he does Lightning Fist, you can strafe to one side or the other and dodge Lightning Fist also. Otherwise it's going to stun you for a couple seconds. It's doubtful it's going to kill you, but it's just wasting time. If you're like me, you want to get in and get out as quickly as possible and go do other stuff. So the less time you get stunned, the more DPS you do, the quicker you can do that. So with this nullification barrier and like these debuffs going out, this is going to be entirely up to you on when you use it. It's basically whenever the normal spamming of Death Strike is not healing you enough, then you'd hit it. Or if you can hold out until he starts channeling the flame thing or whatever, beware. You can use nullification barrier whenever he's channeling that flame to draw all the flames in, and he doesn't get any stacks of the buff. And the buff does like magical damage, but I don't think that's too big of a deal either. So here he's just got me like debuffed up with a handful of stacks, and he's got the whatever buff, and he's like pulsating and doing a bunch of fire damage. So I pop my AMS and I pop Bone Shield, and I'm basically just sitting on nullification barrier because I know he's going to go into this arcane phase really soon. He transitions at like it's like 66 and 33 I think, or something really close to that. So you want to have your nullification barrier off cooldown like going into the arcane phase, because the arcane debuff is going to hurt worse than all the other debuffs probably combined. So this is where, if you need to, you're definitely going to want to use, you know, use AMS and keep Bone Shield up, and maybe use Vampiric Blood as well. Also, don't forget, you know, to be spamming Soul Reaper whenever he's under anything's under 35%. So it looks like I used nullification barrier when I hit 4 stacks, and it's not really because it was too deadly. I just wanted to drop them and stay topped off because I knew the fight was going to be over really soon. Alright, third boss, Gara'jal the Spirit Binder. This guy is the roadblock in here. Basically, if you can beat this guy, then it's a free mount farm. Like, you can come in here and just farm this thing every week, because this guy is the only boss in here that poses a threat. And it basically boils down to DPS. So, if you do insane DPS, you don't have to worry about managing defensive cooldowns at all. If you're about where I'm at in gear, around like 640, 645 or something, maybe even less, that means that you're going to have to be better at managing your defensive cooldowns. But it's still doable. I'm not sure exactly how much DPS I do at the end of the fight on here. I'll check it and try to like mention it, but you can see the meter in the bottom right corner. So basically the same thing, you just go as hard as you can on this guy. And what's happening here is, the way this fight normally works is, like, those totems will spawn, and like a group of people are supposed to stand by it, and they go into like the spirit realm. And inside the spirit realm, there's like these tiki masks and stuff that are like shooting these shadow bolts, and like you can see these shadow bolts like hitting me from every angle. Well, they keep spawning inside of there, and since you can't go in there to kill them, even if you wanted to, they eventually overwhelm you. And since it's magic damage, your blood shield doesn't do dick. So what you want to do is, there's no timer for these things. I don't know if like you can do like go into DBM or something and set like a custom checkbox for it or something that's not checked by default. But it's basically like, I don't know, every 7 seconds or so they do this shadow bolt volley, and they all hit you with a shadow bolt. You need to kind of like count this down in your head, and whenever they're about to do that shadow bolt, you need to start using like AMS. And you should also be using like Vampiric Blood, like whenever you drop down to, I don't know, like 75–80%. Use Vampiric Blood like whenever you have runes off cooldown, that way, and preferably with Plague Leech too, that way you can get like 2 to 3, maybe 4 death strikes in during your Vampiric Blood. Also make sure that you're using Bone Shield, just basically on cooldown. And then when you don't have any of that, especially during the end, like it's very important to do this towards the end, make sure you're using Rune Tap towards the end. So whenever you don't have AMS to like AMS one of those big hits, use Rune Tap. And just cycle those the best you can. Timing here is very important. And if you get below, I don't know, like 40%, just use Death Pact, and then like I would Icebound Fortitude. I would follow up Death Pact with Icebound Fortitude. So you top off, and then you shield wall, and that gives you a window for everything else to come off cooldown. So like AMS is coming off cooldown, Bone Shield's coming off cooldown, even though Bone Shield's pretty weak, and then like Rune Tap's coming off cooldown. Like those two are big. AMS and Rune Tap are really big for this. So it looks like I did about 18,500 DPS on this guy, but I'm pretty sure on my other crappier DK, I was under 15k, and I had to cycle through every single defensive cooldown that I had, and like barely beat it. But it has some really crappy gear, some really crappy trinkets as well. I think a 640 weapon. Alright, so the next boss is the Spirit Kings, and there's really only one mechanic in here that's deadly, and it can screw you pretty hard if you don't handle it right. Basically the first guy always seems to be the dude that does like the big cleave that you're supposed to stack for. Since there's only one person, it's still gonna hit you pretty hard. So just pop everything on the pole, try to melt this guy down as quickly as you can. Basically, if you need to use any of your cooldowns, use everything except Icebound Fortitude, because you potentially need to save Icebound Fortitude for the next guy, or the Archer style guy.
Beware.
And whenever you're killing this guy, whenever he's getting low, make sure that Defile is off cooldown. Do not use Defile as this guy is dying, or you will screw yourself. And that's one of the reasons why you should hold on to Icebound Fortitude as well. So this guy, he's going to do like volley, and I don't know if they're always in the same order, but it's the Archer type dude that does volley. You're looking for Rain of Arrows cooldown on your DBM, and when this hits like 1, you're dropping Defile right at your feet, because it's going to pin you. And like other people are supposed to DPS you out, since there's no one there to help, you have to do it yourself. So that basically means drop Defile and stand in it. He does pillage. When he does that, just get away, get out of the circle, or you will do less damage and take extra damage for a while, and it just prolongs the fight. Now next time Rain of Arrows happens, like Pillage is going to overlap with it, and it seems like he always casts Pillage first, even if like Rain of Arrows is like in front of it. So here you can see me, I drop my Defile, he does Pillage, and after he does Pillage, it offsets the Rain of Arrows cooldown by like, I don't know, 5 to 7 seconds. So like it can screw you, but that's what you're saving Icebound Fortitude for. So here you can just pop Icebound Fortitude and it breaks out. It counts as a stun, so you can break out of the stun. If you're human, you can use Every Man for Himself. If you're still having problems, you can go buy like a cheap PvP trinket. BOA, you can use a you know, 6.1 here now, so you can use the BOA thing. Like just hit Shift P and open up your BOA tab. If you got like a BOA PvP trinket, you can probably just throw that on for this fight. And I don't think anything else on this boss really needs explaining, so I'm just gonna fast forward it and speed it up. You know, like kill the dude, hit him hard, like don't stand in stuff that makes you take extra damage, and that's about it. Alright, so this is what you came here for, Elegon. A pretty simple fight. If you did this fight last expansion, you probably don't even need to hear my explanation. One piece of advice that I'll give to anybody though is, as a blood DK, you can use the Glyph of Blood Boil, and it gives you like +5 yards on your Blood Boil, and you can kill the orbs much easier. Like it'll spread the diseases to them, and the diseases ticking. Just the initial hit of Blood Boil will take them down like half health or below, and then one tick of 2 diseases will kill him. Also, this guy is floating in the air, so for some reason Defile doesn't hit him, so don't waste your Defile like I do in this video. In this video I don't have Blood Boil glyphed, and I still managed to get him really high stacks, so when this ad comes out, I'm just ignoring the ad. You want to kind of like Zerg the boss down to, I think it's like 85%. He goes into like the channel phase or whatever. At this point you can like run out for a second and drop your stacks and then run back in. That way you're you know, in range of the orbs. And just blood boil and spread the diseases to him. Now, like I said, if you have a glyph, you can basically just stand right in the middle and just time it right and just hit it every single time. And even without it glyphed, you can still hit him. It's just a smaller window of error, and especially when they start getting fast, you probably miss one. So I'm going to speed this up because I actually managed to kill quite a few of these waves. And what will happen is if you push him under 50% while he's doing this crap, you'll push him into the next phase, and it will like reset his like what he's doing now. Like he will just like start it over again, but he will keep channeling like super fast. So if you want his stacks really high, you should stop DPS on him before 50 and just let the orbs hit, and then just run around and kill him, and then run back in and, you know, push him again. But he can only get to 20 stacks. Like, he can only get to, you know, plus 200% damage taken. So, or you can when you know, get him close to that point, I think I got him at like 15 stacks or something, and they were getting so fast that, you know, you'd have to just kind of get lucky with it. You can just start zerging him and pushing him. Just try to get him as low as you can. And I did this on my shaman. I did this, you know, this DK and the other DK for a couple months now, and I'm pretty sure that they have fixed the bug where if like you zerg him too hard and push him into phase too quickly, just like I did here, that the floor will despawn, and then when you know, the floor despawns by default. Obviously, if I forgot to mention that, like whenever one of those orbs touch the outer ring, definitely run off of the floor and run around and kill that stuff and wait for the floor to respawn, or you will fall and you will die. But there used to be a bug where you'd push him through the phase too quick, and then you'd run out to get away because you know, the floor was going to despawn, and he'd yank you back into the middle and make you fall and die. He'd do that to the whole raid. But I'm pretty sure they fixed that, so that's good. And bugging out the phase like I did here by pushing them to 50% before I actually finished a orb phase or a pillar phase around the outer edge, it makes him totally bypass the third phase where like the whole room's pulsing. So at this point, just cycle mitigation cooldowns if you need to, and just finish them off. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I also have a video on how to do this as a 680 plus elemental shaman. So if you have an elemental shaman that's like 680 plus, you might want to check out that video. The link will be in the description. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.